Thank you for checking out uberkidstv. If you like our channel, don't forget to subscribe. Today we're going to read my favorite books, Wacky Wednesday by Dr. Suess and illustrated by George Booth. It all began with that shoe on the wall. A shoe on a wall shouldn't be there at all. Yep, there's definitely a shoe on the wall. I thought it wouldn't even stay there. That equals everything down to the ground. Then I looked up and I said, oh man. And that's how Wacky Wednesday began. Now there are two shoes in the room. One brown one on the wall and a brown boot on the ceiling. Can you find anything else in the room that's wacky? If you look closely at the clock, there's no number 10. It goes 8, 9, and then another 9, and then another 9, and then 11. I looked out the window and I said, gee, more things were wacky. And I saw 3. Take your time and look carefully. Have you found all 3 wacky things yet? If you follow the garden hose from the faucet, all of a sudden there's a piece missing, but water is still coming out of the sprinkler. The second one, that's the first one. The second one is the worm chasing the bird. That's not the way it goes. The bird is supposed to eat the worm. And have you found the last one? I'll give you a hint. It's yellow. That's right. There are bananas growing in the apple tree. We found all 3. I went down the hall and I said, hey, 3 more things were wacky today. On the wall in the top row of picture frames, the last one is upside down. That's not how you're supposed to hang a picture. And around the corner, look at the table with the red roses on. See anything strange? Yes, one of the legs of the table is a candy cane. On the right side, the door to the right of the table has 2 doorknobs. I don't think I've seen that any longer. In the bathroom, more. In the bathroom, 4. On the left side, there's a fish in a jar of water. Fish do belong in water, but there's a stopper in the jar, and fish need air too. Wearing a sock while showering? You aren't supposed to shower with socks on. On the right side, if you look closely at the sink, there's something a little wacky there. The right faucet is upside down, and oh my goodness, there's a palm tree growing out of the toilet. I began to dress, then I said, wow, 4 more things were wacky now. So the shoe on the wall was there before, and the turquoise boot on the ceiling, I think was the brown boot from before. So let's see if we can find 4 more wacky things. Let's start with the clock, since that was wrong last time. Do you see it? Now the number 10 is there, but the numbers are in the wrong order. The number 12 should be at the top of the clock, and the number 6 should be at the bottom. There are 2 more shoes in the room. A brown boot stuck to the bottom of her bed, and a gray boot on the ceiling. So that was 3 more wacky things. So there should be 2. So there should be 1 more. Oh, the blue chair. It's still standing on the floor properly, but there's a piece missing from one of the legs. Normally the chair would just fall right over. I looked in the kitchen. I said, by cracky, 5 more things are very wacky. Wow, 5 more things? I'll give you some time to find them all. Now, let's see if you found them all. The white refrigerator is being held up by a bug. He must be very strong. There are 6 yellow mugs hanging under the kitchen cabinets, but the very last one is hanging in mid-air. On the stove, there's an umbrella cooking in the pot, and the table is set for 5 people. But instead of a plate, part of the table had been sawed off. And at the very bottom, we have a mouse chasing the cat. That's similar to the worm chasing the bird in the garden. It looks like things are going to get wackier. I was late for school. I started along, and I saw that 6 more things were wrong. Let's start with the first house on the left. The stairs aren't under the door, but if you look at the next house, there isn't a door at all. I wonder if they have to climb out of windows to get out. And there's also something strange on the roof. Look at the chimney. There's a tree coming out of it. That is very silly. What about the White House? Oh, the window is next to the house instead of part of the house. So that was 4 wacky things. So there should be 2 more. Right outside the White House, there's a lady in a yellow dress. But instead of a baby in the carriage, it's a tiger. Why are you so surprised? And the last wacky thing is the red car driving by. The driver's in the back seat and the passengers in the front seat. I've never seen a car with the steering wheel in the back before. And then 7 more. Wow, 7 wacky things. Let's start with the houses again. The house for sale was missing part of the house. There's hardly any walls and there's nothing inside it either. Look at the sun. What color is it supposed to be? That's right, it's supposed to be yellow, not green. What else is wrong? Oh, in the street there is another shoe with a little yellow bird in it. I don't think I've seen a bird in a shoe before. Look at this red car. There's a shoe instead of the hat on the driver's head. And the man in the back seat isn't sitting. He's carrying the car and walking because there are no back wheels. It doesn't look like there's a seat there either. I don't think I've seen a car with a seat without a chair before. Look very carefully at the telephone poles. The one closest to you is still holding up the power lines, but the pole is missing. And the last wacky thing on this page is the purple crosswalk sign. It's green where it says stop, and it's red where it says go. That's backwards. Everyone knows that red means stop and green means go. And the Sutherland sisters, they looked wacky too. They said, nothing is wacky around here but you. But that's not a very nice thing to say to someone. I can clearly see that the middle sister's missing her legs, but her shoes are still there. And the first sister's neck is not attached to her body at all. Very strange indeed. I wonder if all these wacky things happened every Wednesday. But look, I yelled, 8 things are wrong here at school. Nothing is wrong. they said. Don't be a fool. Let's find those 8 wacky things. There's a shoe hanging from the tree and a turtle sitting at the very top of it. There's another for sale sign, but it's spelled wrong. But it's spelled wrong. F-U-R spells fur, like on a dog. You're supposed to spell it F-O-R. And at school, there are 2 tigers in the class. I know that I never had tigers in my classroom. And on the right side, school is spelled wrong too. It's supposed to be written S-C-H-O-O-L. There's no U in school. And look, there is another shoe on top of the flag post. And speaking of the flag post, that's missing a part of it too. But somehow it still stands up. There's one more thing. Did you find it? That's right, the flag. The American flag has 13 red and white stripes on the larger section of the flag. And the flag is supposed to have, and on the small square, and the small squares is supposed to have 50 white stars against the blue background. We found them all, but they're getting harder to find. I ran into school. I yelled to Miss Bass. Look, 9 things are wacky right here in your class. All right, 9 things. Let's get started. First, Miss Bass is wearing roller skates instead of shoes. And there's also a shoe on the leg of her desk. Let's take a look at the alphabet. Maybe there's a letter missing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, Tau, U, V, W, X, Z doesn't come before Y. There's mistake number 3. That means there must be 6 more wacky things on the other page. Let's start at the very top of the page. The picture on the wall is of President Abraham Lincoln. But underneath the picture, it says George Washington. Right below the picture, there's an old man sitting there. And in the same row, the first boy doesn't have a chair. And there's a girl standing on his head. He doesn't look too happy at all that. And look, there's also a boy sitting the wrong way. And last but not least, the last 2 doesn't even have a head. Wow, that's crazy. Nothing is wacky here in my class. Get out. You're the wacky one. Out, said Miss Bass. The picture on the wall says George Washington, not George Washington. And that's not what George Washington looks like either. Miss Bass is now wearing normal shoes, but the telephone wire from her phone runs through the plant and ends in the mouse's mouth. I don't think she'll be getting any phone calls today. I went out the school door. Things were worse than before. I couldn't believe it. 10 wacky things more. 10 wacky things. I hope we can find them all. Let's start on the left side again. An alligator on a leash. Now that's very strange. And the flagpole has a shoe at the bottom of it. And let's look at the flag. Its bill isn't right. This time the stripes are blue and white instead of red and white. And the blue square is red. There aren't even stars this time. And in the back, one of the buildings isn't even on the ground. So that's 4 wacky things. Let's look on the other side. Let's start with the giraffe. Let's start with the giraffe sticking his head out of the sewer. He doesn't belong there. There's also a shoe on the hood of the long purple car. And look, and there's something else strange here. The lady dressed in purple pushing the yellow baby carriage is walking on top of the car instead of the sidewalk. There's also a shoe at the bottom of the tree, and the statue said George Washington, but I think that he's right this time, but he's facing the wrong way. That's not how you ride a horse. And look, the man sitting on the bench to the right, his bench is in the water instead of on the grass. I really need your help to find all these wacky things, but they keep getting harder. It's not the same shape. Then I counted 11. Oh boy, 11. Let's start looking. Let's start on the left side again. On the very top of the page, there's a tree with a chimney in it. And that tree is all yellow instead of green like the rest of them. And there's another for sale sign, and you guessed it, it's spelled wrong too. It's spelled wrong too. F-O-U-R is how you spell the number 4. And there are a lot of women pushing baby carriages. Let's take a closer look at them. The red on the grass lawn is pushing a very tall tree in hers. And the woman in green has an alligator in hers. And the lady dressed in dark purple tears a ski instead of a wheel on the front of her carriage. And the woman right next to her only has one wheel on her carriage. And look, the woman in pink doesn't have any wheels on hers, but yet it's still floating in the air. And there's also a blue carriage way up at the back. But if you plainly see, there's an old man instead of a baby inside. There's also a shoe coming out with the smoke coming out of the school, coming from the smoke coming at the school chimneys. And look, one of the side doors is sideways instead of up and down. I wonder how you get out of that door. Then 12 worst things. I got scared and I ran. I ran and knocked over Patrolman McGann. There's a really long baby carriage. There must be over 50 babies sitting there. I'm pretty sure that's one. The cow behind it doesn't have a head. There's just 2 rear ends. The pig on the side of it has chicken legs instead of normal legs and hooves. And there's also a door on the sidewalk. And on the walkway there are more baby carriages. The carriage is on 4 shoes instead of on 4 wheels. And the woman pushing it is on wheels. The next carriage is being pushed by a tiger. And the third carriage, the woman's shoes are walking behind her. The blue carriage is being pushed upside down. That's crazy. How does the baby can stay in there? And the last carriage is being pushed by the baby, and the mom is sitting inside. There's a plane trying to land on the street street instead of at an airport. And the ramp makes good where the car makes not good where, and the ramp makes cars jump over a river. Make cars jump over a river. I'm pretty sure that's not normal. And I'll tell you a secret. I found another wacky thing on this page, making it 13 wacky things. I'll give you a hint. It's on the left page. Yeah, there's a window floating in the air next to the building. I'm sorry, patrolman. That's all I could say. Don't be sorry, he smiled. It's that kind of day. But be glad, Wacky Wednesday will soon go away. Hey, someone else can see all the wacky things too. There are 2 wacky things on this page. Look, Patrolman McGang is pulling himself up in his hand, which is inside the shoe. And his patrol badge has a shoe on it too. Only 20 things more will be wacky, he said. Just find them and then you can go back to bed. Only 20 more things and then Wacky Wednesday will be over. Let's find them all. Oh my goodness, look at Patrolman McGang. He has 3 legs instead of 2. And the man on the bench is sitting upside down with his head on the ground. There's a small bush behind him on a unicycle. People should be on a unicycle, not bushes. Why do unicycles have 1 wheel instead of 2 or 3 or 4? There's a shoe with a bush growing out of it, and part of one of the trees is missing. And the road is where the cars go up into the sky. It certainly isn't a hill. And look, there are 2 suns in the sky. There's a pig with no legs this time. And there's a fish out of water fishing a human out of the water. And there's also a lady running with a baby carriage. She should definitely be on the sidewalk with the other baby carriages. There are 3 houses stacked on top of each other. And one of the houses on the back is up in the air. And there's a plane driving by. And there's a chimney and a car floating in the air. And on the walkway, wait a second, the walkway is partly rolled up. That's definitely one. And on the walkway, there are more baby carriages. The woman in yellow is missing her head. The woman in blue is somehow pushing the carriage while sitting in a chair. And the red carriage had 3 babies in the carriage, and their feet are moving the carriage instead of the wheels, just like the Flintstone. And the last one has no carriage at all, but the wheels are there and the baby is floating in mid-air. So let's see, did we find all 20? Okay, we sure did. Wacky Wednesday was gone when I counted them all. And I even got rid of that shoe on the wall. The end. Thanks again for reading with me. If you like our channel, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on Uber Kids TV.